we are doing. So as I'm doing, you will be able to also do it accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So once we have is everybody on the same page? Has everybody logged in? So once you all have logged in, you get this main screen on your account. So this is mainly called as the dashboard. So when we log in here, we are going to go to create and go to 3D design.
Teachers, as a request, can you please switch off your microphones?
Okay. So now that we can see on our screen, so once from there we have come over here, the 3D design window. So here we will be starting with the basic components like this Tinkercad logo. This is basically taking you back to the Tinkercad dashboard. Okay, from where we have come, it takes you there. So whenever you want to go back to the dashboard, you're going to go to the Tinkercad logo. The next one is designs. So whatever recent designs that you are going to be creating are going to be visible over here. This is this. Okay. And this Tinkercad by itself, by default gives names to the design that you're about to create. So you can either, you can keep this or you can modify it as you can say, give your own name as, I will name it as design one. Okay, so you can choose to give your own names to remember whatever designs you have created, or you can keep those same names. Now, one of the basic and the most important thing is the work plane. This is where we are going to design. This is where we are going to create all our 3D designs. Basically, here we are going to place our designs. We are going to create, modify everything on the work plane. So this is the work plane. You can use the right click of your mouse to move this work plane like this. Okay. These are the shapes that you're going to use while creating designs. So by default, the basic shape options come here, like the basic shapes, but Tinkercad is already providing you with a lot of options over here to create your designs. Like you can take any of these objects over here. So one of these is like you can say from fun and games. You have some options over here. So let's take a ball. Now, how are we going to take these designs over here? We are going to take this design, click on it. Once you click on this design, you can just place this design over here. So by mistake, I've clicked it twice. So there are two. So let me just delete one. Okay. Now I can go back to the basic shapes section. Here we have some shapes which we normally use to create our designs. So if I'm creating one, I'll just take and I'll drag it over here. I will just take a cylinder and I will drag it over here. So this is how we are placing the objects on the work plane, where we are going to use this to create our own designs. Once we are done with this, now the point is how, like, I am seeing this from one side, but what if I have to see the back, these objects from the other side while creating the design? So that is when we are going to use this here is called as the view cube. So now we are seeing it from front. Okay, now when I click this arrow here, it is going to show me the objects from the right side, from the back. And here, this is the top view. This you can say it's like the bird's eye view. You're getting to see the top view of these objects. So not only these, but if you see, there are these corner points over here. These corner points, whenever you click on these points, it gives I'm clicking on this. It is giving me a view that is like it is having the top, right, and the back side of that. Suppose I'm clicking on this. So it is giving me a view from here. So these points are also, it gives you an angular view of all the points. So suppose I want to view something which is between the top and the front. So I can just, and neither is it completely front. I want it in between. So this is how we use the view cube. So one of the things that you can do is you can use the left click of your mouse while you're see, and you can view this. Like just move the view cube with the left click of your mouse. So once you place this like this is how you can see all the objects from all the sides, whether it's front, back, top. So this is basically you're orbiting it, orbiting those work plane to check all these views. From once we have seen, now suppose if I have placed so many objects on the block plane, so what if I, like if I'm taking a top view also, I'm getting to see all these objects. If I'm taking a front view, I'm getting to see all these objects, but I'm not going to be working on all these objects together. I'm going to be having to work, like suppose if I want to work on only one object at a time, so what am I going to do? So I'm going to select that object and I'm going to use this option, fit view to selected shape. So when I click on this and I click this, it is taking me directly to that object. So now I am working with just this object. So now whenever I'm going to use the view cube, you just see how exactly it is showing. So it is like the other objects are not visible. I'm getting the top, instead of getting the top view, front view of all the objects, I'm just getting the view of that selected object. So this is how we can work on single objects while we are creating a design by using this fit to all view. Now, sometimes what happens is whenever we are like using an object, suppose you say, now these are the zoom in and zoom out options. So this, you can say over here. So now when I'm designing it and I'm just like, working on this, there are times where we can actually lose sight of the original work plane. So now like I'm here and I'm completely lost. So how exactly do I go to the original position that I was in? So that is when this option comes to use, that is the home view. It brings you back to the original position. So in case even in your designing, like suppose if I'm taking this design, I will zoom it a little bit, I'll go fit to view and I will be checking it out. So if I'm lost anywhere and I'm losing the sight, like the work plane is tilted or anything, I just click the home view and I'm back to the original work plane. This is the zoom in object. This is to zoom out. Now is this option that is switch. We very rarely use this option, but this option is basically used to give, you can say, a flat view of the objects. As in normally, whenever we are, when we are seeing the objects, we always see we have a perspective view. The objects that are near to us, they appear closer, and the objects that are far away from us, they appear a little smaller. But if you want to see the objects the way they are, like the way they should be visible, not like the ones which are closer should be appearing bigger and the others smaller, that is when you're using this orthographic view. Others, normally while designing and all, we always use the perspective view. So this is all the viewing tools over here, this side. These are the section that we use for creating these designs. Now let us see some of these sections over here that are used, like suppose if I'm selecting this object. So this is the copy option. So any object that is selected is being copied. This is the paste option. So it's just creating another copy of that object and it is pasting it beside that. This is the delete option, so I can just delete the copy that has been created. This is the undo and the redo option. So, okay. So now option that is really interesting is this, the duplicate and repeat option. So what exactly does this duplicate and repeat does? So let's just see what it does. Let's take a design and see. So when I'm creating, suppose I'm selecting this ball and I'm just creating using a duplicate and repeat. So if you see, it is already created a duplicate and the duplicate was inside the original only. So now I've just moved the duplicate slightly out from the original one. And now what happens is when I click this again, it is not only copying the object but also the relational distance between those objects. So it is placing it exactly at the same distance as the other two objects. So we can actually use this to create a certain pattern. So I will just show you how we create a pattern. We can use it to create a pattern. So let's just click on this. So if you see, when we place an object on the work plane, so if you see, there are certain white, black, corner handles. We call them as corner handles. So what happens is when we click on these handles, they give us the dimensions like the width, the length. Now, if you click on the topmost, it is going to give you the height. Okay. So what happens is when you're clicking on this, suppose if this I'm going to click on and I'm going to move it, it is helping me to scale the object. So what is the purpose of this then? So if you see, when we are clicking on the white corner handles, it is allowing me to scale the object from both sides, that is the length and the width. But when I'm clicking this black handles, it is scaling the object only in one direction. This one, or you can say this one, this one. So this is how it is scaling those objects. Again, suppose you say that now this is for the height. So this is displaying the height, the center, top center one here, white one, it is displaying the height. So if I want to reduce the height, I will be just clicking on this and taking it down like this. Okay. So if I want to scale it like this, so I will just scale it in this manner. So this is about these corner handles, that is the white one and the black one. Now we are seeing, if you see, there are certain arcs as well. So this arc is basically used to rotate an object. There are different arcs. So if this arc is basically used to rotate an object in this manner. If you want to rotate it like this, it will rotate it in this manner. Okay. So now if we see from here, we can see that the object is placed on the work plane. If you see this conical arrow over here, this is basically used to lift the objects. And as it is lifting the objects, it is also giving by what value it is lifting it. Okay. So the moment it is 0, it is touching the work plane. But it can also go below. So when you do this, the object is below the work plane. How do you get to see that? We can come to the normal view and then we can just, we normally do this when we are designing the objects. So now if we have to shift it, push it upwards, you just take this conical arrow and push it. So if you see, it is showing it in minus. So once it comes to 0, it comes back. Okay, so it has come back on the work plane. So this is basically how you're going to scale your objects. So this is the white corner handles to do it from both sides. The black one, if you want to resize it, you can just click on this and push it upwards. So it is showing it in minus. So once it comes to 0, it comes back on the work plane. So this is basically how you're going to scale your objects. So this is showing only one side. Just use this duplicate and repeat. So selected the object, duplicate and repeat. So now the duplicate has got created, but it is still inside the original object. So So, am I audible now? Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Okay. So, okay. Now, once I've placed this, I've resized it accordingly. So the next thing is, let me just take a closer view at this. So I want to just already created here. So I will just pull the duplicate on top like this. Okay, moment to them. So just keep in mind that while I'm doing all this, the duplicated object is still selected. If once it loses the selection, then see now, like now I've just placed it. So if I'm while doing all this, the duplicate tool is selected. So when I'm doing this, now the next thing is going to be, so it is a pattern of that. But here, if you miss the select, if you're done and the selection is gone, then this distance or whatever, relative distance that is there with respect to the previous object, that will be missed. So that is why, see that whenever you're doing something like this, see that the object is selected and you don't miss that selection. So I can just show you one more example of the same. um, let's just take a sphere. Just 1 minute. Okay. So let's just take this and paste it. So I will scale it first. So let me take it like this. I want it more lengthwise like this. So I will just scale it like this. Okay. So now I have scaled this. My object is selected. So one thing I can do is right now I will just use the duplicate and repeat tool and create a duplicate. Now, as I have used the duplicate and repeat, the duplicate is created and it is exactly inside the original one. So what I want to do is, like, I will use this and I will rotate it slightly, like this much. Okay, and I've just rotated it. Now, once I've done that, I can just duplicate and repeat. But please keep in mind that when you're done with the duplicate and repeat, once you have created a duplication, till and until you rotate everything and all, it should not be deselected. It should be in selected manner. So this is how we can create this pattern. Okay, so once we are done with this, I just want to know everybody's clear till here. Any problem till now? Stable voice and video quality. Okay. Okay, one
Yes,
minute.
ma'am.
There is no problem here. Okay. Okay, so there was some issue. Yeah. Okay, fine. I will repeat it. I'll repeat this design once again. Okay. I'll just repeat it once again. There was some issue with the network. We have just sorted it. So I'll just delete this. I'm taking the sphere. I'm placing it on the work plane. Okay. So I'm resizing the sphere. Okay. I'm increasing the length. I'm moving it slightly ahead. So once I've resized it, if you want, you can also reduce like the height of the sphere. So now, so I'll see that the height is slightly reduced. Okay, that is good enough for me. So once I have resized the sphere, the next thing I'm going to use the duplicate and repeat. The duplicate and repeat tool is being used. The duplicate has been created. So now I will just want to rotate it slightly, not this much. So so I've set the distance, everything. Now let me just use it again. Okay. So this is the pattern that has been created using the duplicate and repeat. So you can always place something like, like this on top of that, the half sphere, to create a flower design. So whenever we are going to have to create something which is going to have the same dimensions, same angle, then you can use this duplicate and repeat tool. Okay. So once we are
Ma'am, one doubt. Ma'am, one doubt I would like to ask. Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
out and sign in again.
We cannot hear you properly. Voice is cracking.
You present and this is the screen. Huh? From this information.
Okay, I have just changed my laptop. Yeah.
Okay, so we have just for now, since we are working on the connectivity, so we have just changed the screen. So I will just show it to you once again over here. So am I audible right now? Am I clear?
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I will
Yes,
just show you
ma'am.
the
We can hear
design
you.
once again. So I have gone to basic shapes. I've taken a sphere and I've placed it on the work plane. So first thing I will do is I will scale this object. So to scale it first, I will see to it that I will increase the length, reduce the width. Now from here I can just see the length and the width. If you see, I cannot see anything about the height. That is why whenever we are designing an object, one of the main important things is that we have to always check it from different views. So now when I'm changing the view from here, I get to know the real height. And this is the height. Right now it is 20. So let us just reduce the height. Okay. So I have reduced the height. Since the object is exactly at the edge with the arrow keys, I'm just moving it forward. So now I'm done. If you want, you can just increase it slightly more. Now use the duplicate and repeat tool. Once you do that, the duplicate is already created and it is inside the original object. So now with the help of an angle, you just see that we can. So one thing I wanted to tell you all is when you're rotating, see if you're rotating inside, if this is the arc, you can say the curve where we are rotating. When you are rotating inside this, it is always going to be rotating by an angle of, you say, if you're inside, it is taking it as by 22.5. Okay, when you're inside here or when you're at this position also, it is always going to be rotating. So you might get confused that why is it not rotating at a smaller amount? Why is it just rotating by this? But when you want to rotate it by a smaller amount, you have to come towards the outer arc. So now if you see, you can reduce it accordingly. Okay, so you're reducing it by smaller dimension, by whatever dimensions you want. So but inside it is having it by 22.5, the rotation. So since I want a smaller angle, I'm coming towards the outer arc and I'm just taking it this much. Once this is done, okay, I'm all set, the angle is set. So now I'm just going to use the duplicate and repeat tool to create the pattern. Okay, so I think this is good enough. So once we have created this pattern, so it is like a flower. So you can modify it and you can, you can use something like this to place it on. Okay. So this is the use of a duplicate and repeat tool. So now that we know how exactly to use a duplicate and repeat, let's move ahead. So I was telling you before that whenever we are adding an object to a work plane, okay, you see that there is a window that appears. We normally call this window as an inspector window. Okay, so this is basically, it is showing you two types of the same object. So right now it is in solid form, but this same object can also be in a whole form. So just to demonstrate the use, will let's go and take a new design. So I will just delete this. Okay. So now I am just adding, you can say I'll take a box. I will just use this to resize it. So if you see when you're using the corner handles, it is just getting resized according to how you're dragging it. But there are, sometimes you might want to, resize an object proportionately. So at that moment, what you're going to do is add an object on the work plane, then press your shift key, then drag any one of the corner handles. So when you're using this shift and dragging it, the length, width, height, everything is being increased proportionately. Okay. So now you can see It is being increased proportionately. So I am placing this now. If you see, there are certain properties that are being displayed over here. Okay, so the radius, the step. Now, what exactly is this radius when it is displaying? If you see, when you're increasing this, it is basically this corner point. So let me just zoom in and show it to you. So, okay. So now suppose if I'm setting the radius to 4. Okay. Since the radius is set to 4, if you see, this is basically what it is. So it is like 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that, it is going straight. So this is how it is, like this much part will show the curve and then it will go straight. Let me zoom in a little more. Okay, any query? Yes, anybody has a query? Sia ma'am. Yes, you have any query?
Excuse me, ma'am. Hemlata here. I
Ma'am,
have
I
one
think you
query.
are on mute. Sia ma'am,
Hello.
any query?
No, ma'am, I don't have any query.
It's not audible. Um, okay.
Ma'am, I would like to ask one thing.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, how you converted that into curve, like the corner edges were there, which were converted. So I could not see the radius part. You said that change the radius value, but then
Yes.
how did I show it again?
Okay. So see, initially you see if the object is like this. Okay. So now when I'm setting it, let me place it on the grid in such a way. Yeah. So now when I'm increasing it to say 1, okay, you see it leaves this one gap over here and it adds a curve, and from second onwards it starts with a straight. Again, if you see, suppose if I'm going to keep it as 5, okay, so this is what it is basically used to, the sharp edges, it makes it like this smoother. And how much, like what value you're giving, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then onwards it is going in a straight line. So this is the radius part of that object. Okay. The
Yes,
next
ma'am,
one,
understood. I was able to do. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, the steps one is basically, if you see, can you see there are this some lines over here? See here. So it can either make it like this or this, like it's like those patterns. Okay. And the length of the object is here. This is the length, width, and the height. So every time when you add an object on the work plane, these parameters are going to be displayed. Every different object is going to have different parameters, and you can adjust those parameters based on the design that you're planning to create. One thing that is there, like we are still doing it in solid, but if you see, there is an option called hole. So this is a hollow part of the same object. Now, where exactly do we use a hole? Okay, so let's just see how can we use a hole. Suppose now, let's take a design and explain it. So I'm adding a box. I'm just resizing it. Okay. So now after that, I'm taking a cylinder and I'm adding it on the work plane. So both are on the work plane. So I will see that I will just, lift this slightly from the work plane. Okay. And then I'll come back to this view. I will just, with the help of my arrow key, I will just put it inside this. Okay. So once it is placed, So I'm not even checking right now whether it is placed exactly in the middle or not. I'm just showing you the use of the whole object and the solid object. So I have created this. I'm just placing it here. These two solid objects are placed together. Now one more duplicate, I will just select this and I will just create a duplicate of this. You can either use the duplicate and repeat from there or control D from the keyboard. And I'm just keeping a side by over here to show you the use of both. So now here I have taken these two objects. Now here I am using this as a whole. Okay. So two different ways. Now what happens is when we use a hole is basically used to create a hollow space inside any solid object. It is like, you can take an example of an eraser. It is just erasing out that much part. From here it is erasing out, and as well as the height, what is there, it is erasing out from there as well. Here. So how do you see the difference? For that we are going to use our next tool, that is the group tool. So when I'm going to use this, select this, and this is the group tool. When I'm going to group these two objects together, group means it is going to combine those two objects in such a way that it appears as one object. So I'm going to use this group tool. So those two objects are grouped. So now when I'm moving an object, it is moving as one object. It is not moving as two objects. Okay, so this is how it is. But now if you see, the both objects have got same color. So if you want, you can just go to multicolor so that it retains the original color of the objects. So when two solid objects are grouped together, they appear like this as one object. Now here we have one solid, and we have converted the cylinder that we had to hole. So now let's just group this and see what happens. So I'm selecting both the objects. You either use the arrow and select it, or you can use shift and select each object. So I'm grouping it. If you see, it has created a hollow space inside the box. So whenever we have to create some hollow space or an empty space, or we want to create some holes, that time we are going to use a hole option. So, and it's not that you're just going to create the hole, you're going to create the hole, and when you're going to group it, so basically every design, you can say, is like a addition, subtraction, manipulation of shapes. So here we have added two shapes to create this design. Here we have, if you see in the second part, we have subtracted the cylindrical part from that to create a different pattern. Whenever we are using hole with any object, first thing is you are going to select both the objects together and use the group. Since it is grouped now, that's why we have to go to ungroup. If you want to go back to the previous way where it is like where you want this both objects separate, you can go to ungroup and it will come back to the way it was, like this as well. It is grouped, so it can just click on ungroup and it will come back to where now both objects are going to be separate. If you see, they are moving separately and not as one object. So this is about the group tool, the ungroup tool. So we have also seen what a whole object has done. Okay. Now next thing, I can show you in this design only, that when I was just placing this cylinder inside this box, I was just placing it, trying to do it manually, seeing that how I can place it exactly at the center. But in Tinkercad, we already have a tool that is going to help you to align your objects appropriately. So for that, whatever two objects you want to align in a proper order, you're just going to select those two objects and you have an align tool here. You either click the align tool from here or you can hit the L from the keyboard. Once you have done, you see there are different types of alignment. When I do this, the object, it is showing you how the box will be placed along with the cylinder. So yeah, let's just take it from here and see. So it is placing the box at the height of the cylinder. When I do it here, the box, it is going to be in the center. Here it is placing at the bottom. So here I want them to be aligned exactly at the center over here. So I will just use this and this. So now it is exactly aligned in the center. Whenever the alignment, whatever are aligned, they turn gray. And the ones that you can align or need to be aligned are black. So depending on the type of alignment, you can use this align tool. So now I wanted to align it in the center. So now I've aligned it. So once, see, this is one of the most important tools. Whenever you want to align something, instead of like you doing it manually, when you go to do it manually, you might just end up, changing the dimensions of your objects. So always use this align tool. It's very important and very necessary whenever you are creating a design, especially if you want your designs to be in proper alignment and sync with each other. So I've just aligned them. Now I'm doing that and I'm using the group tool. Here, using the multicolor, I'm just bringing it back. So we have learned what is the group tool, what is the ungroup tool, what is the align. So now let's come back to the next tool. And the next tool is, like, suppose if I want to place an object, suppose any two objects you say, like let me take this object. So I think before we go to the next tool, let's first, I just want to know that everybody is on same page. Everybody able to understand whatever is being told, like the tools? Okay. Thank you. So let's just do one thing. Others, I will just keep on moving forward, and like I want you to get to know how to do this design. So let's just start with one design. Let's do one design so that everybody, we all of us are on the same page. Okay. Okay. So let's just take one shape. So okay, I'll take this shape and I will place it on the work plane. So I will see to it, it's since it's small, I want a clear view of that. So I will take it like this. So I will take a sphere and I will place this. This is appearing to be slightly bigger. Let us see the dimensions of this object. Okay, what are the dimensions? Yeah. So I will just try to reduce it slightly. So one way to do is, see, if you are going to reduce it, you'll have to reduce from your as well as the height. Okay. Another thing I had told you was to do, if you have to do it proportionately, is that you can hit the shift key on the keyboard and you can, reduce it like this. Or if while doing this, you are facing an issue, now that you have done like this, or you can, both the dimensions have come, I can just place 16 here, and both dimensions, all dimensions actually, the height, the length, the width, everything. So when you select and slightly you move it with the shift and then you write the dimensions, you will not have to enter the dimension. So I have seen that I have placed 16. 16 is the value that I'm trying to add over here. Let's go take a closer look now. You can use your scroll wheel also for that. So now these two objects I want to align inside each other. So what I'm going to do is, I am going to select, you either take, select the first object, press the shift key and select the next one. Or the second option is that you can just take the, 1 minute. Yeah. Like this, using your mouse, you can select it. Now let's just go with the align tool. Okay, so I want it aligned at the center. So let's see how it appears when I'm aligning it. Like, see, suppose if I'm doing it, the height of both the from top is getting aligned. Here in the center, they are getting aligned. Right now, both are aligned by base alignment. Both are at the work plane. So it is showing me that. So I want this sphere inside this object. So I will just come back to my original view using the home view and I will place it at the center. So right now it is at the center. From here, now if you see, it is completely inside. But I still want, see, both are at the base. So I still want it to be aligned even from here, that both should be in the center. Okay. This seems to be pretty fine. The alignment is done from all sides. Now that the alignment is done, I want to create a pattern inside this object. For that, I will see to it that this object, the sphere. So right now, if you see, the shapes that are selected are both. So once the alignment is done, I will just click on the sphere. So the sphere appears here. This is called as the inspector window. So in this sphere, I will take it, convert it to hole. So if you see now that I have converted the sphere to hole, from all sides the hole appears. So once it is done, let me see what happens when I just group it together. So I will just select both and group. Okay. So this is the pattern that we have got by creating the, using these two objects and using the hole tool. Okay. So I hope everything is clear till here. So I'll just give you 2 minutes. We actually don't have much time. So could you please try this design as much as you can now, and later on you can complete it. But 2 minutes to just complete this, try out this design so that you know the tools that you're using it. Okay. Okay. Are you guys trying this design? Okay. Okay, please show how to align tool. How does the align dots? Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Once again, I will show you. Okay. So if you see, these are the two objects. So I took the sphere. Sphere was slightly bigger, so I just see, with the help of this corner handle, I just modified this design. Now I want to put this inside this object. So I'm going to just align them together. So I'm going to select both the objects. This is the align tool. Press the align tool from here, or you can hit L from the keyboard. Okay, now you get all these black dots. If you see, only one dot is gray, that is here. And that the reason is because they are aligned from the base. Both are touching the base, and they're, because see, if you do from top, they will be both on top. If you do it in the center here, they will be both placed at the center of each other. So this is my first alignment because I want them at the center. Once it is aligned from here, I'm using this second tool to align it like this. If you could keep changing your views to see whether it is being aligned properly or not. If you see from here, there is a slight problem. So what we'll do is, in the next alignment we are going to use it from here. So now while I'm doing, I'm seeing that all the views, from all side, I'm checking it. So it seems that the sphere is very well aligned inside this object. So I will just, once it's aligned, I will just select the entire thing. But before that, one step I have missed, that I need to create a pattern. If I have to create a pattern, means I have to subtract something from this object. So I need to create it into a hole. So I will take this sphere. Okay. Be careful. You just see when you're clicking what is getting clicked, because when I click this, chances are even this can get selected. So click on this sphere, use the hole option. You see that it is, the sphere has turned into a hole. Now just select the entire thing and group it. Once you have grouped it, okay, I'm just coming to my home view. Once you have grouped it, the pattern is ready. So I'm just pressing the shift key and enlarging the size to see how it appears. And this is the pattern that has got created. Okay. So quickly, 2 minutes. Please, we don't have much time. If you could just use these tools and try it, even if you're not able to finish it, you can, you can do it later. But the reason why I'm telling is that because you will know the tools that are being used, how they are working. At least even if it's not complete, that is fine. So 2 minutes, please start your design. Okay, done. Tejashri ma'am has done. um can Ma'am, can you share? Prashant sir, you could not understand anything. Sir, what you could not understand? Like, you have to create those two objects. You have to use those two objects from the basic shapes, and you have to just align them after resizing it. Where exactly are you stuck? If you could tell you're stuck, then okay. Tejashri ma'am is showing us the screen. Okay, that's nice, ma'am. Okay. So I am not expecting that all of you should be able to create these designs, but at least please learn to, work with the work plane. Learn how when you're placing these objects on the screen, how you are going to be able to resize it, how you're selecting those two objects together. You might sometimes just the sphere might be slightly bigger or something like that. See, it's not something that you will immediately learn, but at least if you have a hang of these features, these tools, like how you're going to view it from different angles, that is good enough. So actually, okay, Jalpa ma'am, yes. So you have placed it inside that, ma'am. Can you just show it from a different view, the front view?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, I think yeah, it is fun. Have you converted it to whole? Have you changed the dimensions of the first object? It is not. We don't need to change. I think it is appearing slightly different.
Yes,
The
ma'am. I
first,
have changed actually little.
okay, so you can convert the second sphere to whole.
Okay. Okay,
Just
okay, fine.
select
By
the sphere, convert it to whole,
okay. Okay, fine, ma'am.
and then you can group it together.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
So just know how to, everyone, please just know how to work with the work plane, how to add the objects on the work plane, how to just use the align tool. Maybe there might be some issues. You might not get it right at the first attempt. That's perfectly fine. Overall, slowly and gradually, everybody will get it. Okay. So now that we have worked on this design, so let's start with the next design. So here we might, I will explain some features to you as well once we are using this design. Okay. So I will just, you know, See, you can, if you're creating these designs, you can just go to the Tinkercad logo and come back with create new design. Okay, so you can just, if you want to save this design, just go back to the logo over here. Or you can even from here also, you can, create a new design.
Ma'am, you can see my design only this much I could able to do.
1 minute. Okay, show me. Ma'am, can you
I
please
can
like
get my screen.
give me a zoom in with that zoom in. Okay, so I think there is some issue with the size of the sphere. What is the size of the sphere that you have kept?
16.
So then just
I
select the
given
entire thing and align it. Maybe there should be something with the alignment. Select the entire all the objects and
so
use
I'll
the,
ungroup. I'll ungroup first. I have to
sorry.
ungroup first.
No, don't undo
For
anything. Just select
alignment,
everything and align it. Select your complete design and just use the align
yeah.
tool. Is 16 or is it 16 on all sides, like length, breadth, height, everywhere? Okay, so you've created a different pattern. Yes, Amrin ma'am. Okay, this is a new pattern.
Yes, it's. I think
Yes,
I
it's
have
good.
placed
See, as long as you're
pentagon inside.
yeah, it's good. It's nice. So as long as you are like getting to know what is the use of this tool, it should not be the exact design that I'm creating. It's fine, I told you, but it is a new pattern. It's really it's good. Yes, Himanshu, I think it is on top and down, Himanshu sir. Am I audible? Please, your microphones. Okay, I think most of them have pretty well understood what exactly it is. So I think we can move to the next design. We have a lot of topics to cover. Okay, so I'm really happy to see that you all are getting, you are on the same page as me. You all are getting to know these different tools. So let's come to the next design. So I'll just go here and I'll let's see. Hmm? Okay, this is also good. This design is also really nice. Shikesh sir, it's really good. So I think everybody has got this. So I think let's move to the next design. Those who have not understood, you can just the work will get saved. You can work on it later. Let us just move to the next design now. So we will start our design with creating a house. Okay, so let's just start with designing. Let's use whatever we have learned till now and we'll create the house. I mean, in that, while we are creating the house, we will end up learning about other different objects as well. So to create a house, I'm just placing this box on the work plane. Okay, so I want to work on this. So I'm just going to this view. It's too closer. So with the scroll wheel, I'm just taking it slightly far. Okay, now I will just increase the width since I want to design a house. So I'm increasing the width. When I'm seeing from the front, I cannot check the other angles. So I will just use left click the view cube and I will come over here. Okay, so from here I will see total I will increase. Yeah. Or you can even increase your dimensions from here as well. Height is fine. I think I will go with the same height that is there right now. So I'm just increasing the width, the length, and let's just see the object from all sides. So you can either use the right click, okay, to orbit around like this. Just check it from all sides, just the right click of your mouse, or you can left click your view cube to check it. Now that I have done from here, now the second thing that I want to do is for my house is I want to create, you can say a door. So if I want to create a door, I need to remove something. I need to create a hollow space over here. So I am going to use this. Okay, if I see from here, the height is quite big. I will just reduce this height slightly. Even the width is too much, so let me say I will reduce this width as well. So from here, if I'm seeing it is placed like this, I will with my arrow keys, I will move slightly over here. Okay, this appears to be like this, but now let me check the side view. I can use this dot over here. So is it actually inside the house? No. So from the side view, I will select the hole and I am going to just push it inside. I want to create a hollow space inside this. Again, here see everybody can use different kinds of tools. Right now I am just showing the basics, so I will just push it inside over here. Amreen ma'am, can you please just turn off your microphone? Okay. So once I'm done with this, let me just take a closer look and see how exactly it appears. I think the height of the door is still too much. I will reduce the height of this hollow box over here. Let me reduce the width as well. Okay. I think this, now I will just shift it over here. So you can either shift it like that or you can again use the align tool and see that it is at the center. Okay, so it is at the center. Now once this is done, I will just push it. So it is up to you, right? If you want a hollow space just at the front of the house, you can do this like this. If you want the hollow to appear even at the back of the house, okay, let me come to the original view. If you want the hollow to appear at the back as well, I will just push it inside here. But if you see my hollow is, hollow box is, the door is slightly lesser over here. So I will increase it and I will make it to 30. Now let's just push it with the arrow keys and see. I think it is slightly lesser even more. Let's make it 35. And with the help of the arrow keys. So from the front and the back, I'm creating a door from both sides. Okay, so once the door is done, okay, if you see, let's just see what exactly it looks like. Let's take these objects together and let's group it. Okay, so I think we are done with the door. Now same goes for the window. So while doing the windows, I'm going to use a box again, but this is too big. So I will take the shift. I will use the corner handle. I will reduce the size of this. Okay. Now the point is I have to place it in front over there. So I'm going to just move it right now. No. Let's, you from here it appears to be like, on the wall, but from side if you see, it is not at the wall. So I will just take it here first. Okay, so it is slightly pushed through. Now you have to see that you have to raise the windows. So we are going to raise it using this conical arrow. I will raise it here. Okay. So I'm just raising it like this. I'll keep this, I'll select this. I'm not going to, for the other window, if I want to create another window over here, I'm not going to again use the whole box and I'm going, resize it again. I'm just going to select this, create a duplicate, click the duplicate from here or just press Control D from your keyboard. The duplicate is already created. With the help of your arrow keys, just you can shift it here.
Yes. प्रशांत झालं.
Yes? Any problem? So I think it is both are inside. So when you work on a window or something like that, which you have to create another design of that, see that you work on the first one, you place it properly, then you can work on the next. uh, okay, I think somebody Amreen ma'am, you have created a house. It's good, nice. Amreen ma'am is really enthusiastically doing it. It's really nice. Okay, can I present on my screen? Okay, yeah. So now that I have done, so here, if you see, we have not only created this, we have used the duplicate tool, we have using the arrow keys, we have just bought it on the other side. Okay, I'm just, once it is done, let me check now what is the status of my house. So I'm just selecting everything and I am grouping it.
What
This
is this,
time
girls?
I'm just keeping it from one side. I have not kept the windows from other side. If you want, you can do that later on. But right now the whole space is only from one side. Now the next thing that I have to do is I have to place a roof for my house. So what exactly am I going to do over here for the roof? So I can, there is one process where I can take it, you can lift it at the height of the house. Then you
लेकिन
can
मैंने कुछ किया ही
move
नहीं
it
है।
like this. Check from the side.
मुझे मालूम, मैंने कुछ भी नहीं किया है।
Here.
I said I was
Somebody's
doing that.
microphone is on. Please keep your microphones off. Okay. So if you see, this is one way, but it is really tedious. You have to keep on arranging with the conical arrow and this. We have another very easier way is that let's change the work plane. Now what we can do is we have to place the roof here. Normally the objects get placed on the work plane. So let's make this part as our new work plane. How do we do that? We have a work plane tool here. Click on this work plane tool and click on the part where you want to place it. This. So now we have a new work plane. We can easily take the roof and place it. We don't have to do anything of arranging it and all. Just exactly once we have placed the roof, you can go back to the original work plane. So how do we go back? Click this and then you can see there is this blue faint line that comes. You have to just and you're back on the original work plane. Now you have placed it exactly on the house. So now what you can do is you can just use this and try to rotate it. So there is this one way of rotating like this, like I've shown you all. And if you want to rotate at an angle, see, whenever you're inside the arc, it rotates by 22.5. Outside, you can rotate it by whatever angle you want. But if you want to rotate by angle of 45-90, you just use this arc using the shift. If you see, by 45-90. So I have rotated it and it is by 90. Chalpa ma'am. Okay, you all are almost done with the house. Really good, nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's really nice. It's looking really good. So, okay, now let me just let me just finish with this so that the others who are working on it can just complete it. Once we are done, then I will ask you all to share your screens to show your designs. Okay. So once we are done, now that we are here, if you see from the top view, that yes. I think it is got hang. Is it?
Ma'am, your screen is not visible.
Yeah, just 1 minute. 1 minute. I think there is some network problem again. I'll just reshare. Okay. Is it visible? It's not. I think.
Ma'am, not fully.
Just okay. Just 1 minute, okay? Okay. Yeah. So if you see from the top view now, there is slight space yet. So what we can do is, we can just, you can use this black handles to resize it like this from here, slightly from here as well. Okay, still there is a space. If you see, zoom in slightly, there is a space this side. So I will just use the arrow keys, cover it, and from here I will resize it. Okay, so now that it is resized from this side, I need to increase the width. So I will just ensure that it's increased from here, or you can directly add the dimensions over here based on what is the width of the house. So if you see the width of the house, let me check the width of the house. It is 59. So exactly I will need 59. So we'll just select this and we will put 59 over here. That's it. We're done. So from all sides, I think our roof is done. Now that we are done, let's just group everything together. This is one of the most basic houses. You can really come up with really good designs. I've already seen some of the houses and they're really nice. So this is just where we are using the work plane tool. I wanted to show you how you can place two different objects upon each other without going with the hassle of using the arrow keys and all. Now this entire thing is complete, so I will just use the group tool and I think we are done. But the thing is, now when we are grouping it, everything has come to one color. So we have an option here called multicolor, which will retain the original color of the objects. So once it is grouped, it is completely one object. It moves as one object. You can use this like this. You can, just press the shift and increase it proportionately. Okay. So I think we are done here. Let me go back to the original view, slightly upwards. Okay. So I think we are done with this. Everybody, I have you all understood this design? So you don't need to make the same kind of designs, but please keep in mind when I'm making this design, I'm also telling you about these tools. Like here we have, seen the work plane tool when we are placing these objects on each other. So see that you know how to use the work plane tool. There is one more thing that you can do in this house. That is, we can create a roof, a slightly patterned roof. So I can, what I can do is, I will just show you that. Okay, no need to try it now, only you can try that later, but let me just, okay, I'll just bring this slightly more closer. I want to do it on this side, so I will just use this and I will place it on this side of the roof. Okay, so I'm taking this box and I'm placing it here. Okay, let me just check from here. Okay, I think I need to increase it slightly from here. Let us just reduce the height of this house. I mean this box, not the house. This is the pattern that we are trying to create. Okay, so if you see, it appears slightly like this. Let me slightly lesser. I'm just scaling this box to a pattern that I want to create. I think the height is still more. I will just flatten it a little bit more here like this. Okay, so slightly I will reduce the width even more. Okay, so now that I have created this, I am just checked the first one. I think if I'm, it needs to be, if I'm zooming it, I think it needs to come slightly upwards. Let's reduce the height slightly. Okay, so now that I've done with this first pattern, okay, um, This is already 3. I will make it to 2. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to just duplicate this. So I'm going to take this. I'm using the, it is already placed on this, so I can just come back on the original work plane. Let me just try with that. Okay, 1 minute. So it's already placed here. So let me just come back to the original work plane. Once I'm back on the original work plane, now I will select it and I will duplicate it. The duplicate is exactly inside the original one. So I will shift it slightly outwards. Okay. Now it is done. So it is shifted outwards. So I will just do the duplicate and repeat. So this is the pattern that I wanted to create for the roof. Now that we have created this pattern, it is on one side of this. I want it on the other side as well. So what we can do is we'll have to select each of this. Like you can press the shift while you're selecting them. Please be careful that you don't deselect the previous one while selecting them. Here. Okay, it is too much of a task to select all of these minutely. So you can make it slightly wider if you want. So as the selection is happening, you will see that there are many that are getting, so as this line is expanding, which is telling that how many are selected and how many need to be selected. So I may have missed 1 or 2 over here. Let's just see. So I'm just selecting this pattern so that I will show you what exactly we can do from that. So I've selected this pattern. Now comes our next tool, that is a mirror tool. Yeah. So this is a mirror tool. This will create a mirror object. But for that, first I have selected all this. Let me just first create a duplicate. And we'll duplicate that. So I'm using the duplicate tool. The duplicate is inside this. I'm going to use the mirror tool to see how exactly I will place this now. Okay, so I'm getting another one from this side. Let's just move it outside so that I can place it on the other side. I think it has got hanged. On the other side. Okay, it's not, it has got deselected. So let me just select it. Since, see, whenever we are selecting any object, a halo appears. That is telling us, this blue halo tells us that these objects are selected. So mine got deselected because my system got hanged and I was just checking over here. So now that it is already mirrored it, all I have to do is I have to just take it on the other side. So this is basically why I'm showing you this roof, is basically to explain to you about the mirror tool that is there over here. I may have missed out on. So let's just go here this side, and from here if you check, I will use my arrow keys to bring it out from the other side. So I have missed 1 or 2 over here while selecting, but this is how we are going to place it on the other side. So this is basically the use of mirror tool. We can just use this also later on. Just select the 2 what are pending. Press shift and select the next one. Now I'll just change my view to bring it along with the other ones. This is how it is placed. There might be a slight change because I missed that while doing it. But this is how you can duplicate the objects and then create a mirror image of this. So this is applicable for anything. Suppose if I'm placing over here and I'm just clicking on the mirror tool. So if you see, there are different mirror images of an object. So whenever you want to create something, you can always use this. Okay.
Ma'am, can you tell me how to create class code?
How to?
Create class code class के लिए.
You mean the code blocks?
Not for whole class. How to create class code?
Yeah, I'll tell you that.
Creating
I will
this.
tell you how to create the class code for it. We'll come to that. But right now, we'll just complete on the design. I hope everybody is just clear with all these tools for now. Yes, ma'am, we'll come to that point. But I hope everybody has understood the use of the mirror tool. Yeah. So we are almost done with all of the tools. One tool that is left is the ruler tool. Ruler tool is you have to click it and you have to place it on the work plane. When you place it on the work plane, it appears like this. You can create different designs while you're using the ruler tool. Like, for example, let me just show you one way in which yeah, you have to just select everything and use the multicolor option whenever you want to use the multicolor. But right now I will just show you. Suppose if I'm placing these two objects on the work plane and if I have to use the ruler tool, let's just see what the ruler tool is doing. See, whenever I'm using the ruler tool, this object is selected. So it is showing me the distance from the origin to the end, the first point, end point of the object, you know and this is basically displaying all the dimensions of the cylinder. Suppose if I'm selecting this now, so it is showing me the distance from here till the end point of this box. The green ones show you the distance from the origin to the object. The other blue ones show the dimensions of the object. This is useful when you are placing two designs at a distance from each other. At that time, we are going to use the ruler tool. If you want to use it, you can use it. See, there is two options. Use midpoint. So now, right now, it is showing you the distance from the origin till the end point. Suppose if I'm using this option here, now it is going to show me the distance from the midpoint of this. If I'm showing this, it will show me the distance from till the midpoint of this. So this I'm just telling you, while you're creating your designs, you can also use the ruler tool. This ruler tool will help you to make your designs more precise. Okay, one more thing is this notes tool. Notes tool is basically, suppose there are many people who are working on one design, then or if you have created multiple parts of a particular design, then you can write your notes over here. Okay, whatever it is, like, or if many people are working, each person can write his name over here, so I can write my name over here. So it is known that whatever design is being created here by me, this is from my side. Okay, similarly, so this is basically to keep a note of either if there are multiple objects designed by one person and he wants to create notes about the different parts. If there are multiple people who are collaborating and working, you can just write down the name and keep this. Okay, so these are some of the tools that we have been, these are the basics. Once you learn these tools, you can create any design over here. So please be very, very clear on these tools. So one is this notes visibility. If you want to, for some time, if you don't want to make this visible, this is how it is. Okay, the another thing is, yeah, so we are actually running short of time. So other thing is, right now, if there are multiple objects say on the work plane, okay, And if I want to work on only one object at a time, I don't want to work on the other objects, I can choose to hide this object. You can select this object and you can hide the object. If you want to view it back, you can use this show all option and all the options will be visible. Now, suppose if I have designed one object and I don't want its dimensions to change, I can use this lock option. So the object is locked. It will not be edited. Anything with a purple halo like this, you know that the object is locked and you cannot edit it. To unlock it, you can do it from here itself. Okay, so I think I have covered most of the tools over here right now. So let's just take a 5 minutes break and come back. Okay. Still, we have a lot of topics to be covered, so I'm rushing with it. I hope you understand. And whatever concepts right now that I am teaching, I hope it's clear with you all. So after 5 minutes, we can come back to start the next topic. Okay. Let's take a break for 5 minutes. Please explain converting of 2D images to 3D object. Yes, it is the next topic that is going to be covered. Please wait for 5 minutes for that. Okay. We will be starting by, okay, by 4:10 we'll be starting. So we'll be back by 4:10. Okay.
Can we start now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now Cheryl had beautifully explained you how to create 3D designs in Tinkercad. Now, sometimes what happens, there are many designs which we are not able to create it. Just take an example of a butterfly. It would be very difficult to create or design that butterfly in 3D printing, in 3D designing software. So for what we can do is that there are online converters. What we can do is we can take 2D images and convert it into SVG format, which is compatible with Tinkercad. And then we can import it. So now we'll see how to convert a 2D design into an SVG format and then import it into the Tinkercad software. So for that, one second. So what I have done for that is I have already downloaded one image of a bird. This I downloaded it from the internet, and then I used online SVG converter. Can you see my screen of online SVG converter? One second. So you can use Google and use any converter, take any image and convert it into a SVG format. Once it is converted, you can download it into your computer and then we'll start on. So once you have converted your 2D design into a 3D design, what you will do, suppose I want that design, bird design to be inscribed in this box, which you have learned how to place it and how to resize it. Now I want to place the bird design on this box. So what I'll do, I'll import it. There is an import 3D file option. Click on import, choose the file. This is a converted file which I have downloaded and I'll open it. Then you can see it. This is the image and then I'll import it. It takes some time and now on the screen you can see an image of bird converted in a 3D format. We will resize it and place it on the box to create a design of a bird. You can increase the depth so that the hole is formed. Create a hole, group it, and the design of a bird is inscribed on the box. Now here, when selecting a design, you have to take care that the design has a thick outline so that it makes or creates a hole on the object that you are placing it. So this option can be used for designing keychains, your nameplates, and in this way you can use any 2D image and use it on a 3D platform. Is it clear, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, do you want to try it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes? This option, conversion of 2D to 3D, sorry, 2D to SVG format?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think someone wants me to repeat it. I'll do it again. Basically, what you have, the very first step for you is, to you have to download an image, 2D image from the internet, and convert that image into a SVG format using an online SVG image converter, which I am showing it to you right now. Here you have to just choose your file, upload it, and click on convert option and download it. The file will be converted. Once it is converted, you have to import that file on the Tinkercad software. From import option, you will import the file, place it on your Tinkercad workplane, resize it, and use it for making a hole. Here, if you can see the legs part, there is a hole, but this will be printed as a hole. If you print this design same as, only the bird outline will be drawn on on that flat surface. And if you want to create a whole of object, then what you can do is that you can take an design or an image with a thick outline. Is this option clear? Shall we move ahead? Or you want some time, 2 minutes to do it, to perform the task? Anyone can share if they have done this? Yes, I'll stop presenting. Anyone can share it. Okay, so I don't think so anyone has done it. Should we move ahead? Okay. So the next option is, okay, someone is presenting. So the next option is using shape generators. Now, shape generators are special shapes in Tinkercad software that provides us many properties which we can use and change the properties and change the shape. So to add shape generators, we need to go to the basic shapes. There is an option called as shape generators. Now, all the objects that are present in the shape generators, for them, we can change the properties. For example, I'll take this spring. Now, this spring is there on the work plane, and here the inspector window shows the properties. Now, you can change the properties and change the image. So you don't need to design the image like this again and again. You can just change the properties and make changes to the shape. Similarly, there is a shape called as extrusion. All shapes have different properties which can be changed and created into different shapes. For example, this is a sketch window for the extrusion shape. Now here, these handles are called as a Bezier handles. You can drag the Bezier handles and change the property of the object. Now look at what was the shape and how it has become. This was the original shape, and this is after changing the properties. So there are many shapes in the shape generators. You can use them And one or two, there are certain exceptions. One or two images you will find in the basic shapes category, where there you can change the properties of the shape. So these two options are clear. Now we move on to the circuit part. Before going into circuit, I would like to demonstrate you the egg lamp designing process. There's certain part is tricky, so let's move directly on to that. So for that, first we need to take the egg shape. Okay, which part has to be repeated? Rupali ma'am, which part should I repeat? Uh, import image. Okay. So what you can do is, for import image, first, for importing an image, you have to convert it into SVG format. I'll type it in the chat box. SVG format. For converting to any 2D image to SVG format, you have to go to the online converter, which you can get easily by going to Google and just type in convert 2D to SVG format. You will get many websites. Just upload that 2D image on that and you will get the SVG format image. After that, when you go to your do your Tinkercad window, there is an option called as import 3D files. From there, you just click on import, choose a file wherever you have saved. I have saved with the name download one, and I will open it and import. It takes some time for importing. Is it visible?
Yeah. But it is showing that it is
Importing. So it is taking some time. We can wait for a few minutes so that it gets uploaded here. Teachers are taking some time. So just now, when I demonstrated, it got easily error in uploading. 1 second. Choose file.
some problem with the network.
Okay. So basically, this is the step to upload any file. Right now, because of some network error, it is not getting uploaded. Just few minutes before, we had uploaded the image of a bird and inscribed it on a box. So follow the same steps and you can do it. Now, yeah, it's there on the screen. Can everyone see it? So this is the 2D image converted into 3D form. You want to print it as it is, you can print it. You can use it as to create any designs, you can do it same. Next, we move on to designing an egg lamp, which is used used to create a glow circuit assembly. For that, first we need to go to, there are various objects in that creatures and characters option consists of egg. This is the egg that is available. There we need to resize it. Let's take it to 80, 80. We will change the length and width and then the height. Let's make height as 88. So this is one of the egg shape ready with us. Now, okay. Okay, Anuja ma'am has taken 2D shape of elephant, converted into an HVG format and placed it on a box. Now this is a good design which you can use as a keychain. You can just print the design as it is and it gets done. Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'm not. Okay. So we have taken the egg shape. We have changed the dimensions of the egg shape. Now, as Cheryl has discussed the tools, we'll use duplicate option to make a copy of it. We can press Ctrl D and drag it using an arrow key. The duplicate of that particular shape is ready. Now, for this egg lamp, I need a base of square shape. So what I will do, I'll take a square shape, change its dimensions to 6.5. And what I will do, I will cover base of one of the egg with this shape. You can view the top view to make this happen. Now, what I'll do, I will make, I'll make the base a hole and then group it. So I get the top of my egg lamp. Now I need a base for my egg lamp. Similar steps I will follow, or I could have duplicated the same thing and then created it. But right now I have not done, so I'll make it now 6.5. And then same steps to be followed to cover the egg lamp. Now I need a base for this lamp. So what I'll do, I will cover the top part of the lamp. To cover it, I'll use a work plane and place a box over it. And increase the size of the box. Okay, I'll change the color so that I find the difference between the base and the top box. Okay. Go back to my original plane. I can see that it's not completely covered. Now it is. Now what I'll do, I'll make the top part whole and then group it. For this, I have to first delete the base and then select it and group it. So now I have the base of the lamp and the top of the lamp. Yes. Now, teachers, I know it's a very complex process. I have completed 6 to 7 steps. You would like to try it once and then I'll move ahead. So try to create the top part of the lamp and the base of the lamp. So for that, first you need to add the egg lamp, change the sizes of it, cut the base of one of the egg and cut the top part of one of the egg. Um, Neha ma'am, what you have presented in that, I can see the egg that is shelled from side as well, cut from side. And I cannot see the base separately and the top part of the lamp separately. And I think so you are working on a new plane. You have to get back to your original plane also. You can try it out, Neha ma'am. The very first step is to place the egg and then change the dimensions of it, duplicate the egg, add a same base of 6.5 height to both the eggs. One egg, you also place another box on the top so that the top part is cut, and in one base, in another egg, you have to just cut the bottom part. Neha ma'am, you can try till that time. Anyone else want to share? Yes, Tejashri ma'am, yes. Can you change the view? I cannot see the bottom of your egg, top part. Yes, yes, ma'am. Perfect, perfect, ma'am. So, so let's move on now to the next step. So basically, everyone has to try the same. I know it takes time for us also. It took time to complete it and understand it. So this part is very tricky. Let's move on to the next step now. Now, once we have created the top part of the lamp, let's keep aside the base, shift the top of the egg lamp. Is my screen visible now? Okay, now we keep aside the base of the lamp. Now we work on the top of the lamp. Now this lamp we need to shift to the bottom of the work plane. Sorry. Yes, now the lamp is on the work plane. Now what we have to do is that we have to shell the lamp. Now how we will be shelling the lamp? Shelling means we have to create a hole inside so that if we place a glow circuit inside it, the lamp should glow. So what we will do, we will create a duplicate of this lamp. Just click on the duplicate option or Control plus D. The duplicate is object is created. Now I can see the object which is created has dimensions 80, 80. So what I'll do, I'll change these to 77, also to 77. Now one of my egg is of 77 width and length, and another is of 80, 80. Now the egg which is outside has to be made transparent so that I can see the inside one. So this is now my 80, 80 length and width lamp selected. I will choose and make it transparent. Now, if you see clearly, carefully, there is an alignment issue when you change it. When you make it transparent, you come to know. So now we will use an align tool. We will use the align tool to we will use the align view, align tool to make it aligned properly. So now our egg is aligned. Now we have to select the inside egg so that we make it whole. So for that, select both the eggs, press shift key and select the outside egg. Again, it didn't happen. We have to, when you select both the eggs, you can see two shapes here. It shows us two shapes selected. Press shift key and carefully select. Again, I'm not able to select it. So what I'll do, I'll just keep aside my this thing and reduce 77 to 76 so that I'm able to select it. There is a clear precision there. Again, I'll select both and try to align them. Now I can see the aligned object. Okay. Then I'll select both two objects, press shift key and select the outer object. You have to try multiple times to get this. Yes, it has happened and whole. Now my inside part is whole. I'll select both the option and group it. And then go back, transparent. Now I have created, now you can see I have shelled this egg and my top part and base part of egg lamp is ready. So this activity, there are legs as well, placing of circuit, glow circuit also is there, but we have covered only the shelling part basically, so that this is the most tricky part. And then just what you have to do is that there are cutouts here, you have to place it and print it. Now this is for this activity, this is the glow cutout. Always remember that you cannot change the dimensions of these cutout. These are locked because these will be used to place the coin battery and LEDs. So this you have to just print it and place it over this base, and this base this lamp will be placed, a top part will be placed over the base. And in textbooks, you will see that there are steps to how to add legs to this lamp. And this lamp you can use for, you use it as a night lamp. So I would request all the teachers to please practice that shelling part. And if you have any doubt, you can ask us right away. Okay. Yes. Shall we move ahead, teachers?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I would request you all to practice this, because this comes with practice. Because you could see that I had to reduce a bit of length and width of it, so that the shelling part I could achieve. So this will be coming with practice, and all the steps for this are given in a book, and you can use it. So now we move on to the. I would quickly rush you to the circuit part of Tinkercad. When you go to the dashboard of a Tinkercad window, there is an option to create circuit. Now the interface is more or less like Tinkercad itself. You can do all the tasks, but the idea of having this option is to only test your circuits. You cannot print and make these circuits work. The You can share this options with your science teacher, who can use this feature of Tinkercad to design the circuit and test the circuit. That's it. You cannot print LEDs or batteries here. You just print your circuits and see if it is working, and then you can, this will help you in creating a circuit without wasting the components. So for that, this is the basic window. Almost all options are similar. Here, instead of shapes, we have components, LED, batteries here, and there is an option called as Start Simulation. This option shows you how your circuit works. I just create a very basic circuit. This is the breadboard in which we'll place all the components. This is a LED which I want it to glow. To glow an LED, I need a battery. I have taken a AA 1.5 volt battery. There is an option to turn it. I have turned it here. Now these are the properties of the battery. Name of the battery is, and number of battery it is given. Now there is a negative component of a battery which has to be connected to negative. I have connected it, and here is an option for my understanding to change the color. Now I change negative to red. Now again there is a positive which is to be connected to the positive part of the breadboard. I'll change it to green color. Now another, from negative, it should be connected to the negative of the LED, which is the cathode. I'll change it to red color, and the positive current should connect to the positive, that is the anode of a LED. And I change the color so that it's clear that it's a positive part. And now now I have created it. Now I want to check whether whether my circuit is working or not. So I'll start the simulation. Can you see there is a light change here? It shows that my LED is glowing. Now you can use this for various things in your classroom, and your science teacher, you can test the circuit here. There are various complex components. You can use them and create a circuit. Now here another thing we can show is that here only one battery is added to a circuit. Now here I add two batteries to it. Okay, now let's see what happens to I'll check my circuit, what happens to it. You can see a star here. It shows that my LED has burst because more amount of current has been supplied to it. Now for this we'll use a resistor, we'll use capacitor, which will be your complex circuits. So this option is given here to test your circuits, and then after testing here, and if it is working properly, you can design those circuits. I hope till here it is clear. Ma'am, we have in our textbooks we have links as well for these circuits and this egg lamp option, so you can check it from there. Or else textbooks give you all the detailed steps which will help you to design any model, whatever you want. So I would now ask Cheryl to take with the last session of code blocks so that you get a little bit idea of it also.